Hey guys, I'm coming to you still from the Proper Hotel in Austin, Texas for the Acura Integra first media drive. I'm driving it today. So by the time you're watching this, I've already driven it and I'm sure I'm loving it. But anyways, we have some news coming out of Japan. Just felt like talking about it. I was up really early this morning and I have nothing else other than do. I already got my work out of the way. So let's talk about the recent rumors and speculation coming out of Japan about the Toyota Crown. We're over at Creative Trend. This is a Japanese scoop site, so take everything with a grain of salt. None of this is official, but keep in mind, we have to be close to the Crown reveal. And the reason is orders have stopped in Japan for the previous model, to my understanding. Also, ToyotaCon, or HQC Confidential, is in just a couple weeks at the time of this recording. That's Toyota's big annual convention, at least here in North America. And after the dealer leak, we should be getting that Crown on sale here on our shores. Yes, the Crown coming back to America for the first time in like, what, 50 years? Something, 40 years maybe? I don't know, I wasn't alive at the time, so it's hard for me to remember. But anyways, it should be on sale here in October, along with the GR Corolla. And so we've been speculating ever since the Avalon was canceled, what are they going to do? And here they're bringing in the Crown and possibly a Crown Cross. So anyways, let's get to over at Creative trying to see what they're saying about the flagship Toyota sedan that will be coming to America. There's another one above it in Japan, that's the Century. We're not going to be getting the Century. We have the Lexus lineup to kind of cover that base, but this is encroaching on Lexus territory if these rumors are true. Okay, Kirk, stop beating around the bush. What is going on here? Well, the headline is definitely a head scratcher. There are 4 grades. Okay, it's good to have segmentation within the model, and only all-wheel drive. So it took us a long time to get all-wheel drive in the Camry, as well as the Avalon, rest in peace Avalon now, and it took us a long time to get all-wheel drive in the Lexus counterpart, the ES, but they're both only mated to a 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. Now, they're saying only higher grades will adopt the new 2.4-liter turbo hybrid. This is the powertrain. We'll get to the spreadsheet in a little bit. This is a powertrain rumored to come in the Lexus RX redesign. I'm guessing it's the next S-Sport Performance, and this would line up well with the RX 500H or the 550H Plus if they want to make it a plug-in hybrid. We are also expecting this sort of hybrid powertrain to come in the Lexus TX 3-row crossover that should be coming by the end of 2023. So this sort of hybrid setup is to me, it's almost like a throwback to like the GS Sport all-wheel drive system, the GS 450H. But it's a little bit different setup. That was more rear-wheel drive bias, but this is going to be bringing that sort of performance, maybe even more performance. So they're saying 4-door coupe. So the first thing that comes to mind is something like the Audi A7, that sort of style of vehicle. And there's also a high-side vehicle. It's going to be lifted, crossover style. So I'm thinking maybe looking like the Venza, but more stately, more opulent. Now, Spider 7 has this image coming out, which I don't think we're going to see this sort of wagon sort of vehicle. I think it would be awesome, and I think it would be a great addition to the Toyota lineup. I just don't expect it looking like this, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope we see something like a sport wagon, like a V90, for example, from Volvo. Now, what's interesting is they're going away from rear-wheel drive. We've been hearing this for a while. They're getting away from the TNGA-L platform. It's kind of a modified version of that with the current Crown. It's the N platform that the Mirai is also on, but they're getting rid of that for the K platform. The K platform is extremely modifiable. We have front-wheel drive, we have electric all-wheel drive with hybrids, we have mechanical all-wheel drive, and a pretty damn good one in the new Lexus NX, for example. And the upcoming Highlander 2023 model gets that sport all-wheel drive, that torque vectoring all-wheel drive system as well in the top grades. And the things I've been hearing from my sources is that the K platform will absolutely have full-blown electric vehicles, battery electric vehicles on it in the future. Pretty crazy. The Crown is adopting, according to them, all-wheel drive or e-all-wheel drive system. So it's going to have the hybrid system powering the front wheels. The gasoline engine has no physical connection to the rear wheels. You're going to have an electric motor powering the back. And this has kind of been par for course with a lot of Toyota Lexus hybrid crossovers. But there's a big difference here because we haven't seen this all-wheel drive, all-wheel drive or E4 system on a sedan yet. It's only been on crossovers. So the fact that it's finally coming to sedan is great. We've been asking for it for a long time, especially on the Lexus end. We wanted an ES hybrid with an electric motor in the back to give us all-wheel drive, and we still don't have it. Instead, they gave us a very anemic 208 horsepower, somewhere around there, naturally aspirated 2.5 liter A25A FKS engine. But what we wanted was a hybrid version of that with all-wheel drive. And it looks like the Crown of all vehicles is getting that before the Lexus ES. Now we have dimensions here. It's a little bit wider, it's a little bit longer, but the most notable thing is that it's quite a bit taller than the outgoing Crown. So we're definitely going to see something a little bit taller, a little bit more crossover-y. Lovely, right? But again, we're supposed to be getting two different variants, a Crown Sedan and a Crown Cross. So I think that's what they'll call it. I mean, that makes sense based off the Corolla Cross and the Yaris Cross that we already have in the global markets. All right, they're saying there are 4 grades and the powertrain on each grade is a hybrid, and there are 2 different hybrid powertrains here, not just like a front wheel drive, all-wheel drive. No, they're all wheel drive, but you have the traditional hybrid setup that's going to be like in the Lexus NX, for example, NX 350h, and then you're also going to have a brand new hybrid system, which we'll detail in a spreadsheet here in a little bit. But here are the 4 grades. Now keep in mind, this is for the Japanese market. We're not going to see these sort of names here for the lineup. Typically for Toyota-based vehicles in the United States, we'll probably see like a base LE or SE, and then you'll have a limited probably. Don't forget XLE, XSE, and then they also have platformer. They could probably even have a capstone at this point, which would make sense since they've brought it into their truck and SUV lineup. But we'll see. We're not going to have this sort of naming grade, but definitely expect multiple tiers of the Crown here in the United States. And don't be surprised if we get less than 4 grades here of the Crown, because it's a much smaller market than the Crown has in Japan. That vehicle's also been around there since its inception. Gosh, what was that, in the late 50s? And it's never broken its reign there or its succession, where in the United States, I wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 grades or 3 grades tops. Now the top grade is getting the new generation turbo hybrid, but what's crazy here is that all grades are equipped with the bipolar nickel metal hydride battery like the new Aqua, which is the Prius C. We don't get that vehicle here anymore, but the Aqua just came out, I think last year, on the TNGA-B platform, very small vehicle, and it had an all new battery, not using lithium ion at all. But they're able to manufacture this battery that gives you same power density as a lithium ion with a much cheaper production cost to it. So the unfortunate nature is that it still has nickel, right? And we know nickel right now is expensive, especially due to the wars and the shortages going on in the world. Now in terms of the styling, they're saying that this from Best Car is most likely the closest that we have so far. And also, the styling should carry over to the lifted version, the Cross, the Crown Cross, or whatever they decide to call it. And lastly, it says, don't be surprised if you see a different bumper or different styling on the front for the top end turbo hybrid model as well. Heading to the spreadsheet here, these are the powertrains that I'm expecting, or at least what we're hearing from Japan, so take it with a grain of salt, right? But it's fun to think about. The base powertrain is going to be this right here, 239 horsepower, but it could be around 219 horsepower because that's what we see in the RAV4 hybrid. It's 239 on the Lexus NX and will be on the Lexus RX as well. So this is definitely an excellent powertrain. And in a setup like this, here's some sirens going on down there, but in a setup like this, we see 40 miles per gallon in the RAV4 hybrid. So when you make it a vehicle that's more aerodynamic and lower to the ground, don't be surprised to see 45-50 miles per gallon. Now that's a little bit less than what we see on the front wheel drive Camry hybrid, but you got to keep in mind this vehicle is going to be bigger and it'll have that extra motor in the back with a little bit more weight, but it'll definitely be more performance minded. All right, so what is going on over here? Well, I think this category right here is most likely, but the power numbers, I've been struggling to figure out how they're going to electrify this setup. But what is guaranteed pretty much at this point, I'm willing to to step out on a limb and say is that they're not going to have an eCVT that we see on all other Toyota hybrids. They're bringing in a single motor hybrid system and an 8-speed automatic that's going to be much more favorable for performance in theory. And we're taking the 275 horsepower turbocharged 2.4 liter engine that we see in the Lexus NX. We also see it in the new Highlander now. And it has 317 pound-feet of torque. It could be tuned a little bit differently for the hybrid system, assuming we're getting 60 horsepower or so from the front motor and an additional 60 horsepower from the rear motor. Guys, we're going to be seeing well over 350 horsepower in my opinion, and well over 400 pound-feet of torque. This thing is going to be a rocket, and I'm very, very interested. Now, what we can also say here is bipolar nickel metal hydride battery could be a lock. And that one makes sense because their current nickel metal hydride batteries just don't have enough juice. And this will also help keep the cost down for the upcoming Crown. Now, don't expect this battery pack to come from America anytime soon until the battery plant in North Carolina is up and running. And the thing is this battery pack, the bipolar battery pack, is only built in Japan. So you're not going to see this on any domestic, or should I say North American built vehicles, I don't believe. I am going to end it there. Are you excited for the Crown? Fingers crossed I'll be able to see it and maybe even have like a world reveal for you guys at HQC. I just don't know, but I think at the very least we will be shown it behind closed doors where I can't say anything about it anyways. We would all be better off if they actually took off the curtain on the new Crown, because if they reveal it in June, HQC, we have July, August, September, October. So it's just like a 4-month difference. So I think that would be a good time period to get people amped, have Toyota start figuring out pricing in that meantime, as well as packaging, what kind of features are going to be for the North American models, etc. But anyways, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my coverage, not only of the Acura Integra, but of HQ Confidential in Plano, Texas, at the headquarters for Toyota North America here in just a couple weeks. Anyways, signing out from Austin, Texas. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves and peace out.